What's up, I'm Good Rebel. I'm a video editor and audio engineer, and today we're taking a look at this beauty, this $900 video editing beast. This thing absolutely smokes 4K footage for breakfast. And if you stick around, I'm gonna tell you why this computer's actually $165 cheaper than you might think it is. So I was an avid Apple fanboy for a very long time, but a number of years ago, I did switch over to a Windows-based PC for all my video editing because it kind of ticks all the boxes for what I think makes a good video editing machine. There's my baby. Hi, baby. You come record with Daddy. You want to do the intro with Daddy? Bubba, why don't you tell them why this is such a great computer and why everyone else should build one just like it? So I already own a fairly high-end workstation PC that I built myself specifically for video editing. This computer that we're talking about today came into being because I recently got hired as a full-time videographer. The story is I wasn't able to start doing hybrid work right away. They wanted me in the office full-time. So they issued me a laptop, a very nice machine. We're talking like $2,500 plus. If you've seen any of my shorts, you know exactly which laptop I'm talking about. This thing just cannot handle Premiere Pro. I took a really long, hard look at it. Our IT guy took a really long, hard look at it, and we just couldn't get this thing sorted out. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. You see, PC parts right now are very cheap and prices are falling all the time. I knew that I could put together a desktop PC on a very strict budget that would outperform that laptop, which this thing totally does, by the way. I also knew this didn't have to be a permanent solution. I just needed to get through the next couple of months. So here we are a couple of months later, and I do now officially have a work desktop PC, so I'm taking care of there. But for the last couple of months, I've been editing almost exclusively on this little $900 beast, and I have to say, I absolutely love it. I'm super impressed. Do you want to tell them about the CPU? Okay, look at the camera, look at right here, and say, Intel 12700K. So the heart of the beast is an Intel 12700K. This is the CPU. This is where you get the most bang for your buck in any content creator PC because this does most of the heavy lifting. The reason I picked this one is just purely price to performance. Intel 12th gen has come way down in price. The 700K, I think when I bought this one was right around $200. Prime Day, it was like $170 or something ridiculously cheap. It's got plenty of cores and enough clock speed to really handle Premiere and going through 4K footage. The K in the 12700K means that there is an integrated graphics processor in the chip, which in this case is actually one of the things that helps with video editing, gives you that smooth timeline. Let me go back to mama. All right, the dark horse in this whole build is the Intel graphics cards, which I think a lot of people don't even know this company makes them still, but they just started doing this recently. This is the ARC A750 and comes in at right around $200, but it absolutely competes with graphics cards costing probably 2 or 3 times as much, specifically when we're talking about content creation, video editing, that kind of thing. For gaming, it does pretty good. It's definitely probably more of a 1080p type of card, but the encoders and decoders that Intel has in this thing are just about perfect for Photoshop and for Premiere. I've had a really great experience with it so far. I've edited tons of hours of footage full-time on this machine for about 6 weeks now, and it has really honestly been a great experience. I think thanks in part to that GPU. For RAM, it's just 32 gigs of DDR4. I think it's running at 3200. This is nothing special. DDR4 is definitely last gen, but it's extremely cheap right now. It's extremely effective. I don't think the advantages of DDR5 are really fully realized yet, but this is also a kit I had laying around, so that helped me with my bottom line. This case, we gotta talk about this beautiful case, is NZXT H5 Flow. Again, a screaming deal. I think you can get the case with like a couple of fans in it for about $60 right now. It's really hard to find a lot of like name brand, like quality made cases at that price point. This is definitely one of them. You will have to probably put some fans in, which brings me to my next point, these fans. Thermalright is a company, if you're not into PC building, maybe you've never heard of, but you should, because these guys make very cheap products that are very good. All the fans, the ring LED fans you see in here are all Thermalright fans. They're quiet, they push a lot of air, they're just cheap as chips. This bad boy in the middle, the CPU cooler, also a Thermalright product. This is the Assassin Spirit. I think it goes for right around $22, $23. An incredible value. It looks rad and also keeps the processor at the correct temperatures, even under load, which I put to the test a lot over the course of the last like 6 weeks. And that brings us to the motherboard, which is the secret of how you can actually get $165 off of a brand new computer, which I did. This is an Asus ProArt B760D4. That's not super important. It's a great motherboard. What's important is that any ProArt product that you buy from Asus right now, they will include 3 months of Adobe Creative Cloud just as part of the deal. Creative Cloud is about $55 a month, times 3 is $165. Yeah, 110. Yeah, $165. I'm a Creative Cloud user. I was gonna be paying monthly for this anyway. I now get those 3 months for free, and it really just makes this whole thing seem like an even better deal. So if you're in that crowd, that means your actual price comes down from $900 to closer to $735 or thereabout. All right, I stayed up late for you nerds just to get you some benchmarks because I knew someone would ask. So I've gone ahead and set up this little test bench. I ran some tests overnight. So if you're new to this kind of thing, yes, there are objective tests you can run on computers to see just about exactly how fast they're gonna be and how well they're gonna perform in specific workflows. So today's tests are gonna include Puget Bench for Photoshop and for Premiere, because I run those two software all the time. We're also running Cinebench, which has kind of become a fairly universal way to determine how good a computer is going to do for a lot of creative workflows. So our multi-core score is coming in at 22,273. That is pretty stinking good. That is at just box stock specifications from Intel. If you wanted to get into overclocking, that's something I'm sure you could do even on this system. This CPU, as far as Intel is concerned, really runs pretty cool. With this cooler even, you could definitely overclock this and get some more numbers out of that, if that's your thing. Single core, we're coming in at 1,874. Very respectable. Honestly, for me, that's a great number. If you're looking to do a fairly typical kind of YouTube workflow, you're gonna be editing 4K footage, doing some graphics, that kind of a thing, this is a great place to start. Jumping over to Puget Bench for Premiere, we've got a score of 6,530. Again, very respectable. Feel good about that. Here's where it gets good. For Photoshop, we're coming in at almost 8,500. Now, that's a great score, especially for the price. I have it on fairly good authority that that's actually probably because of the GPU. This Intel graphics card thing just happens to be a great value for people who are going to do creative work on their computers, but in this case, specifically something like Photoshop. So if that's what you're into, comes highly recommended from me. So this is where we should talk price to performance. I know I have this listed around $900 or so. If you wanted to maybe cheap out on some of the components, do a little bit lower quality stuff, but a similar level of performance, I think you could build it closer to about $750. And if you include in there the Creative Cloud for 3 months, which comes out to about $165 in value, we're now under $600 for a PC that's producing scores like this. For that price, you're just getting an absolutely unbeatable level of performance. What are you gonna get from Apple, even used for $700 to $900, that's gonna get you that kind of performance? This thing is coming in at well over 22,000 on Cinebench, and more than just the numbers, I'm just telling you from experience, editing on this machine is great. It feels really close to my higher end machine that I use at home. So now I wanna know what you think about this type of PC. Maybe you already are a content creator who operates on PC, or maybe you're like me and you're an Apple guy who's just needs a little push over the edge into the PC world. In any case, this is a great option for budget conscious people, and I'd like to hear about it in the comments. Hit me up down there, I'll be down there. And this is the point where you gotta subscribe because you made it all the way to the end of the video, so go do that right now.